Well, hello folks, welcome to what will probably be my last test ride of 2017, and what a way to go out, huh? I have got the keys here to a Suzuki GSX-R 1000R. So this is Suzuki's top of the line superbike. This is all the bells and whistles, all the options. It's all of Suzuki's know-how put into one ridiculously fast motorcycle. So if you've not seen one of my test rides before, I take the bike out for about half an hour. I talk through usability, ergonomics, some of the features of the bike, and just give you my first impressions of it. So keep in mind, I don't have access to a racetrack, so this is not going to be an all-out assault telling you about the performance credentials of the GSX-R 1000R, which realistically I couldn't use anyway. So I'm going to give you a feel for what it's like to ride on the road, whether it's fun as just an everyday sort of machine, whether it's got the manners to be able to live with when you're not flying around the racetrack. So let's get on, have a bit of fun, and just enjoy this absolute marvel of a machine. Let's go. So here we are. Absolutely ideal conditions for a superbike, really. Urban streets with lots of cars. Not to worry, we'll have fun anyway. Before I get into talking about the GSX-R 1000R, thanks again to the crew here at Sydney City Motorcycles in Lane Cove. They're the ones who give me the keys to all these exciting bikes and give me a chance to make the videos so that I can bring them to you guys. So if you do enjoy the video, get something out of it, feel free to drop a like down below, because the guys do watch the videos, and obviously the better they do, the more chance there is they're going to keep lending me bikes. So if you do, thanks a lot guys, it helps me out a lot, much appreciated. Okay, GSX-R 1000R. Those of you who are into motorcycles will know that 1000cc sports bikes are kind of like the spaceships of the bike world, right? Like they've got all the technology, all the know-how. It always finds its way onto the superbikes first. You also know they're extremely powerful and can be a bit of a pain in the backside for city riding. And 2017's been a pretty good year for superbikes. There's been this one, brand new Fireblade. A couple of the others have had updates as well, but yeah, this is a pretty exciting bike for Suzuki, because this is the first time they've like completely overhauled the GSX-R 1000 in like quite a while. Like I think it's about 8 years since the last one came out. And they've made a whole stack of changes to it, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail as we get into the review. But yeah, brand new motorcycle, lots of changes, very exciting. This is the entrance to a freeway, so this is where I usually give it a bit of beans, so let's do it. Oh my god, you cannot beat superbike power. That was awesome. Oh my god. So the engine is a bit of a star of this bike actually. One of the things that Suzuki's been super keen to talk about on this bike is the fact that it has variable valve timing. So it's something that, you know, cars have had for quite some time, but it's relatively new in motorcycles, and Suzuki's keen to talk about how not only does that give you good top end power, it means you can also use the cams to give more tractability to the engine down low. And on first impressions, I'd say they've done a pretty good job of that. Like the pickup off the bottom end is good. You know, you get a nice little thump of torque, as well as the that obviously manic top end that you would expect from a superbike. So. But yeah, variable valve timing, still 999cc, still an inline 4, but I think they quote something like 185 horsepower, so it's getting right up there, you know, like, not that I'm going to use anywhere near that much today, but If you want the latest and greatest, that's a pretty good starting place if you ask me. And the tech doesn't stop there with the GSX-R 1000. You've got these balance-free forks. I don't know a lot about the technical details other than that. It improves control, it improves adjustability. They're a really high-end component, so that's another plus. You've got a quick shifter that goes up, you've got an auto blipper that goes down, and then on this dash you've got all the info that you could ever want. You've got 10 levels of traction control or something ridiculous. You've got 3 power modes. I love the display. The display is really easy to read. The low RPMs, where you don't really need a lot of detail, is quite small, but then you've got a nice flat bar across the top that shows you the big RPMs and that big prominent 14,000 red line. Everything about this bike just kind of screams spaceship to me. Like, it's just, it might as well be, like, with the performance and the technology on here, like, this is a spaceship, man. And I'm in second gear. Anytime you twist that throttle, power everywhere. With that trademark Jigsaw bark. Oh, it's so addictive. The power is so addictive. Oh man, I love it. One thing I will say though, I know GSX-Rs have a reputation as like pretty well-mannered road bikes, and I don't think this one's any different. Like, again, I'm riding along at, 4,000, 5,000 in first. It should be like really bucky and eager to go, but yeah, don't get me wrong, there's shove there, but it's very controllable, and it just feels like a bit of a caged animal. Like, it's there the moment you need it, but it's happy to kind of dawdle around. I can't imagine you get very good fuel economy, but who the hell buys one of these for that? Now, this is my car park test. This is where I try and do a slow speed U-turn just to get a feel for, low speed maneuverability, ease of use in tight situations and stuff. And I can already tell you, I'm not feeling too good about it. I'm up like a jockey, as you would expect. Yeah, don't have a whole lot of steering lock. Obviously, expensive bike, not mine. Don't want to drop it, and so I've definitely put a foot down. Some bikes, when I do this test, I can get straight on them and do the U-turn, no dramas. But the combination of the low clip-on handlebars, like you get on a super bike, the limited steering lock, and the seating position, yeah, not an easy bike to turn around. I don't think that's going to put off any potential buyers, but it's a bit of fun, something I always do as part of the test, so thought I'd chuck it in there anyway. Seating position otherwise though is pretty damn good. Like, sorry, I'm just going to enjoy these corners before we get to talking about anything else. Oh wow. I just love that effortless planted feeling you get from these super bikes. Wow, man. Oh, it's just sublime. It's so much fun. Oh, man. Accidentally took off in second then, but again, tractable, easy to do. No dramas, no protests from the bike. Very impressive. Sorry, back to what I was saying before. The ergonomics on this bike are as good as you're going to get from a super bike, I think. Obviously, inline 4-cylinder, it's quite wide through the waist and the tank here. But I'm actually pretty comfy. Like, my legs lock in fine. It doesn't really matter how tall you are because there's plenty of room here for your knees. It's about as good a compromise as you're going to get on one of these bikes, I think. It definitely feels less jockey-like than the 899 Panigale I used to have. That felt more like your bum was up in the air, more so than this thing. Yeah, there's no doubt that like one of the dominating impressions on this bike is the power. You're probably not surprised, 1000cc sports bike, but yeah, the power is wild on this thing. And when you combine that with this quick shifter that just lets you bang up through the gears, my word, some serious performance, guys. One thing I'd be very interested to see as well is how much difference it makes when you put a sports exhaust on this bike. Because I know one of the big criticisms that's been levelled at this bike since it came out is it's got this enormous end can on it, right? And the reason for that is they have to meet Euro 4 emissions standards. The only way to do that is to put a massive can on it. But it actually still sounds pretty good even with the giant can on it. So I'm guessing that like if you put the Yoshimura or the kind of aftermarket pipes I've seen people throwing on here, it's going to sound pretty damn good. Because at the moment you've got all that GSXR angriness, but it's just begging to be a little bit noisier, I think. And I know it'll be a bit polarizing, but I really love the paint scheme as well. Like, you know, if you squint and kind of imagine for a little bit, you almost think you're on Iannoni's GP bike. You know, you get that cool sensation that you're on a Suzuki race bike or something. It's pretty cool. But if this isn't your style, they do have like normal kind of colours like black and white and stuff as well. So you don't have to go full MotoGP if you don't want to. I know a lot of people ask about heat on these bikes. You know, you got a lot of power down there, a lot of engine, but this seems very civilized. Like I'm not. Today's a warm day. We're in the high 20s Celsius, and I'm not noticing any issues with heat. Anyway, more power. Oh my god, that is outrageous! Oh, the fact that you can still ride one of these on the road is kind of comical. Like, when I said before this is like a caged animal, I'm not even kidding. Like, this is, just sublime. That power delivery is just addictive, man. It's so addictive. Oh my god, I could get so used to this. Just very quickly, like I said before the highway, no issues with heat here. It's not coming through the fairing onto my legs or anything. The frame's not getting hot. No issues with heat. Really good. What else is in this segment? I guess what I've heard a lot of bike reviewers say, and I tend to agree, in this superbike range, like, they're all so damn good and have so many features that I reckon just buy the one that you like. You know, buy the one that you think looks the coolest, sounds the coolest, because you're going to struggle to use all of its performance. It's going to do everything you want it to do. You're going to have an amazing ownership experience. So, yeah, I reckon just get the one that you like the look of. Like, personally, I think this is one of the better looking bikes. I'm an absolute sucker for this livery. I love the new kind of diamond style headlight. I think it's got a bit of MV Agusta about it, actually. Really like that aspect of this bike. And in typical Suzuki fashion, like, I love how simple all the switch gear is. You know, the screen's more like monochrome rather than like the TFT you might get on a Panigale or something like that, but I don't really care about that. I don't think that would bother me at all. In terms of what you actually buy this bike for, which is, you know, performance, you're not going to be left wanting with the Gixxer 1000R. You just want to go and eat curves on this thing. You just want to go and eat them. Nom nom. The only thing that I'm finding a little bit peculiar about this bike is the brake lever is definitely not as direct as like... I remember when I rode the BMW S1000RR, the brake lever was like running into a wall anytime you used it. Like, even the faintest application and the brakes were like, you know, like heaps of stopping power. Whereas this is, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's spongy, but there's a lot more kind of travel in the lever before you get a real forceful braking action. Yeah, it just doesn't quite feel as direct as the BMW. is probably the easiest way to describe it. Unfortunately, I can't compare it to anything else because they're the only two superbikes I've ridden. I've not ridden an R1 or a Fireblade, so I can't really compare there. I hope you've had a bit of fun coming around with me on this review. I mean, like I said, it's impossible to touch this bike's performance in the kind of situation I'm in now. And even if I had a racetrack, I wouldn't really be able to touch its performance. So I hope you've had a bit of fun just kind of cruising around the burbs with me and seeing what this bike's all about. And one thing I will say is like this slow speed, city stuff, it's got good manners. I know superbikes of old had a reputation for being a bit of a pain in the backside if you got stuck in these kind of situations, and you'd end up hating yourself and just wishing you were out on the open road. But I could totally live with this, getting around the city. I mean, I'd feel a bit stupid because of how much performance I'm, not using, wasting, whatever you want to call it. I'd feel a bit silly from that point of view, but yeah, the bike isn't protesting every minute of the way. It doesn't hate you for it. So that's cool. I like that. Well done, Suzuki. A tractable yet still insanely fast bike. Currently being used to split traffic. How hilarious. I guess the problem here is, like, if I want to get around one of these cars... Oh, I don't want to follow the garbage truck. It smells horrible. Yeah, let's do this. Straight to the front of the queue, where the GSX-R should be. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. A quick spin on Suzuki's new Mac Daddy, the GSX-R 1000R. I do these test rides on a reasonably regular basis, so if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below, and then you'll get notifications whenever I make a new video, which is pretty often. These guys are really good about lending me bikes, and I get in there every couple of weeks and try out something new. Thanks heaps for tuning in, and I'll see you in another video soon. Cheers.